Today on the podcast, we have one of the most inspiring women you'll ever come across. She is someone who has been a model, a businesswoman, a philanthropist, and an animal rights activist in her career spanning over 3 decades. Otara Gunewardene is the founder of ODEL, which is the chain of largest departmental stores in Sri Lanka. Not only is she a very renowned businesswoman, but is also the very first woman in her country to take a company public. She is someone who has not only made her mark in the business world, but also in her career as a fashion icon, modeling for several distinguished brands across the world. But what truly inspires me about Otara, and what I believe will inspire you as well, is the fact that whatever she does is for supporting a cause which is very close to her heart, and that is the cause of helping street dogs find a home. In this particular episode of the podcast, Otara talks about her journey from starting her career as a model to becoming one of the most prominent businesswomen in Sri Lanka, her vision for the future of animals, and for the future of a better world. This is one of those episodes I recommend everyone should watch at least once, because there's so much to learn, so much to absorb, and so much to help you find your own calling. So do enjoy this incredibly inspiring episode of the podcast with Otara Gunewardene. Welcome to the podcast, Otara. Thank you so much for joining us. It is really a pleasure and an honor speaking to you today. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm fine, thanks. I'm well. I'm in Sri Lanka, and I'm okay. Thank you.
And I can't believe that I'm talking to you right now. The world is really like this tiny, global and interconnected village. And honestly, the first time I came across your story through Nas Daily's channel, I was like, I really need to host this exceptional and inspiring person who's doing such incredible things. And it is truly an exceptional feeling getting the chance to host you today on this podcast.
Thank you for having me, and I'm just interested and keen to to spread some messages, to different people around the world, and that's why I agreed to do it, and I'm happy to help. I know you're just starting out, so I'm happy to help you too.
Thank you so much for that. And to begin with the episode, let's go way back in time to your initial days of starting ODEL and how you led it to be this iconic chain of the largest departmental stores in Sri Lanka. And I really want to know about the driving force that motivated and inspired you to take on this journey. And also, it would be really great if you could tell us how ODEL essentially started.
It's quite a long story. Because it's also been like 30 years now. So, in very, very brief, my education is in science. I have a degree in biology, and I was born and raised in Sri Lanka, in Colombo. And all through my life, I really loved, through my younger days and as a child, I was very passionate about animals and animal welfare, animals and wildlife and conservation, and I wanted always to be able to do more to protect animals and wildlife and nature as well, forests and wildlife also, and so that's really what I had in my heart all along. And when I in school as well, I wasn't really a great student, but I was very good in athletics and swimming and dance and in more that side of things. I really loved and enjoyed that side of the arts and the sports, and the whole drive that and commitment it took to get in those areas, after I finished school, I went to America and I got a degree in biology. And then once I came back to Sri Lanka, I actually started a modeling career. I started modeling, and I was a catwalk model, and I used to do TV commercials and billboards and magazines and various things for a few years. And during that time, I also wanted still to support to contribute towards some wildlife conservation projects, and that's when I started sort of selling T-shirts. I started making T-shirts and selling them to companies and to friends and family. And then I also, Sri Lanka had a very thriving, it still does, a very thriving garment industry, manufacturing, export industry. So I started going to factories and buying stock lots, like the leftover stocks from their exports, and started distributing that as well. And all of it I did I had a bit of an old car which I had got, and I used to distribute the items in the back of my car to other stores in Colombo, and also to my friends and family. I used to sell the items. And I realized I quite liked doing it, and I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed, picking the clothing and selling it to people, and they liked what I had as well. And then I started a very, very small store, very small, like 400-500 square feet. And from there, that was the first store, and that was the first ODEL store, really. And so ODEL was, my father created the name because Otara, and my second name is Del, D-E-L. So that's how ODEL came about. And that was the start of it. And, obviously, business grew, and the store was very popular. People from all over would come to visit. I had a lot of customers from India as well as the brand grew. It got very popular, and then, I decided to expand and have more stores, and then created another very large store, which was like a really nice department store in Colombo for my customers. And it kind of sort of, changed the way retail was done in Sri Lanka, and also gave, a place that people can come in and buy very stylish and fashionable items to wear, plus for your home, plus for children, and it became kind of like a lifestyle and concept store. And it kept growing and getting bigger and bigger, and then I had a couple more. I added on a few more stores. But the main flagship store was always in a location called Alexandra Place in Colombo. That was the largest store, and a very, very popular location and store. A lot of customers from India used to come, especially to Sri Lanka, to buy from that store because they used to love the products in it. And that's really how it grew, and then it grew to many stores. And then I listed the company on the stock exchange. It was the first fashion retail company to be listed on the stock exchange, and I was the first woman to list a company on the stock exchange. And then subsequently I sold it 41% to a Malaysian company called Parkson, and they invested in the company, and because we wanted to expand further. And then subsequently, a couple of years later, in 2014, today actually, 2014, exactly today, I actually sold my shares, and I exited the business.
I can, definitely imagine the great amount of hard work you must have put in, and the sheer determination you had when you initially started out ODEL, especially since you were the very first woman to take a company public in Sri Lanka. But what's even more commendable is that you persisted through thick and thin and took on the challenges as they came your way. And I personally feel that is that one mantra of success which everyone should follow and abide by. And I was also recently reading an article and got to know about the journey you embarked on while you were still in your modeling and designing career, and how you came to be one of the most prominent personalities in Sri Lanka. And now you have transitioned to philanthropy work, where you are supporting and catering to the great cause of helping street dogs find a home, which is absolutely a very heartful thing to do. And I'm pretty sure that you must have amassed some great learnings along the way. So can you throw some light on the kind of learnings you got and the challenges you faced while wearing multiple hats at the same time? And could you also tell us about the kind of mindset which you adopted, which essentially helped you sail through and made you reach where you are today?
I was always very, very dedicated and very committed, and had immense sort of energy and drive to grow the business. And I absolutely loved what I did. I had a great passion, to give, my customers like an incredible experience, and also at the same time to improve the lives of many people who were part of the business and who were part of the brand and the company, because you can't really reach any place without a good team behind you. And I used to make sure that they had a lot of opportunities to grow in the company and to improve themselves, to improve the lives of their families, and to give them opportunities to reach higher levels in the company. So I think having a good team with you is always very important. Having a supportive family is always very important. My family was always very supportive of what I was doing, and it was a lot of time and a lot of effort that had to go into it. My days were extremely full, and I eventually, halfway through, I had two sons as well. So I had to balance being a mom and also running and growing quite a large business. But I always, I had the ability, and I still do, to multitask and to be able to, to look at different areas of the business, and to always be very close to the customer, very close to the product. I was very, very close to the product ranges. That was what I was mostly involved with a lot of the time. I always knew the collections that were coming in, and was part of sort of the whole creative of the brand, because the visual and the communication and the presentation of the whole brand and the whole all the stores were very different to what was available in Sri Lanka, and it was really also what made the footfall so much better in the company, in the stores, and obviously with that comes better revenue. But there are, and also of course there are challenges that come up with any business and with any life, and you have to have a mindset to be able to handle that, and to be able to take those challenges and turn them into lessons and positives, and also to learn from them and grow from them, and to be able to then apply those new lessons into the way forward of what you are doing, which helps to grow both yourself and also to grow the business that you're a part of. And it's also important to have dedicated people with you, people who believe in the company, in the brand, in you as a leader, and that's really important, because their support is really is a great strength for me as a leader, and also for the company, and also you have to keep improving your own skills and your own knowledge on a regular basis. You should never think that you know everything. You should never, at any point, even now, there's so much I know I can learn and improve myself with, because there's always room for that. And I was someone who was not trained or not skilled in any field of the business that I was a part of. I had no training or education in marketing, in HR, in finance, in fashion, in nothing. So I really had to be able to understand and learn. But it also, to me, I thought it was beneficial, because it helped me to do things my own way, and not in a way that I was taught how to do, how to do things. So in that sense, it did bring a great difference to the brand and the concept and to the business.
That is, really a very inspiring and an enduring journey you took on. And I myself kind of believe in the mantra of having a problem solving and a goal based mindset, which you talked about just now, which, essentially means to work piece by piece on the challenge or whatever is that you are working on. Just kind of like, putting all the pieces of a puzzle together and always going piece by piece, step by step. So now coming on to talking about Embark, you are very passionate about dogs and animals, and especially the work you are doing at Embark is really prolific. You rescued over 80,000 street dogs and gave them a chance at life. So I really want to know, how did it all start? What does the day in your life look like, and how do you manage to operate it, right from rescuing dogs to managing the organizational side of things, which you talked about just now, like, managing the brand, managing the product line, the visitors, and all of that?
Yes, so I mean, from the beginning of the business, I always had an arm that was to create awareness for environmental projects, for environmental protection, for animal welfare, and then some people causes as well. It was always part of the brand, to be able to to support those areas of the community, and to try and influence people, or to make them more conscious and aware of changes that needed to be made in our community for a better life for people, animals, and the environment. But subsequently, several years down the road, I realized I was doing a lot of projects, and a lot of them, a lot of projects, but none of them were really making any big impact in one area. So I thought I should focus on sort of one area where I could make a big impact and bring great change. And that's when I decided that I wanted to help the street dogs, because I saw them, for one, and I thought that, they are part of our society, our community, and everybody ignores them. They undergo such, a lot of abuse and a lot of cruelty, and, a lot of suffering, and I thought they didn't deserve that, and that they deserved also to have a good life, and we also needed to be conscious human beings to make that happen. And also I rescued at that time, me and my family, we found a little dog on the street, and we rescued, we picked him up, and actually I was going to find a home for him and give him away, but then my son said that they wanted to keep him. So we kept him, and we named him Nico, and really it was Nico that really made me want to give dogs like Nico a better life, and to really help to change their way, their situation in society and in the community. And I wanted to make them fashionable to own, and to make them visible, and to give them a platform to be able to make their cause visible, and to make themselves visible, so that people would see what wonderful dogs they are. So as with everything, when I want to raise funds for something, I always start a brand, because I like my work of my community work, and I guess I can say charity work, but I like it to be sustainable, or where I can do the work that I think that they deserve, or that I want to do. So I usually start a brand with it, and that's why I started the Embark brand. And all the products were available in all the ODEL stores, and it became, and my dog Nico, and then subsequently we adopted two other dogs named Bandit and Rosie. So the three of them became the mascots and the ambassadors of the brand. And we had a lot of events and programs and adoption days and pooch parties and many things that helped to give the message that these dogs really deserve more in life, and that we should be choosing to adopt our own dogs instead of buying a dog. And basically they had a platform to be visible and to be seen, and it really changed how people looked at street dogs. And a lot of people came to adopt them. So far, I think we found homes for about 6,000, and of course treated and rescued thousands. So that's the work we've done. That started in 2007, and it continues today. I sold everything in the company except Embark. I kept Embark, and that's what I do even today. And we still continue with the rescues and the treatment and the rehoming of puppies. It's been quite challenging in the last year and a half because of the COVID situation. But we still do what we can. Sometimes it's very difficult to get to all the dogs for the calls we get, but we just do what is possible to do and what we can do. And that's really what happens even today. And at home I have 6 dogs now, and Nico passed away last year. But I have 6 dogs, and I currently have a puppy who I'm fostering and I'm hoping to find a home for, but she's getting very familiar in my home. I'm not sure if she's going to stay or not. But so yeah, that's what I have. And I also have a kennel where we have about 35-40 dogs, which I'm desperately looking for homes for them, but it's been quite challenging. The hospital is not owned by us. We use different vets and we use different hospitals to treat the dogs. And I also have around 40 paralyzed dogs that live in a center in the south of Sri Lanka because they can't go back on the street and they need special care. So there's another center that takes care of them for us.
Wow, that is really, an exceptional work which you are doing. And, there is this one quote by Roger Caris, which I feel is very true. And that is, dogs are not our whole life, but they make our lives whole. And, it makes me feel that more and more people should imbibe this in their lives and come forward and adopt a dog or any animal for that matter, because we all at the end of the day are residents of the same planet and Mother Earth. And, I also keep following and seeing a lot of your posts and stories on Instagram and Twitter, especially the ones with Pidu, which really kind of makes my day every day. And I have a dog as well, and his name is Balu. And, we adopted him like 2 years back from the streets, and he especially brings a lot of joy to our family.
Yeah.
And
so, yeah, Pidu is quite a star, actually. And also an Instagram star. Every time I put a video or photo of her, like everybody goes, oh, she's so cute.
Yeah, he's very cute. Yeah. And, also, since these days, social media has witnessed a lot of popularity, especially Instagram, I feel that there are a lot of avenues to spread your message to the world and a lot of chances to innovate on your business and engage more and more people. So what is your opinion on innovation, spreading your message and generating awareness in this age of social media, especially from all the experiences you have had at Embark and your other past organizations?
Yes, so I mean, obviously, when I started the business, and for many years while growing the business, I didn't have social media, nor at some parts. I mean, it sounds very ancient, but like in the dark ages. But I didn't even have internet and email and the smartphones we have today and WhatsApp, and none of those things were there at that time. But of course, it didn't stop us from growing the business. But of course, today there are a lot of opportunities to spread your, a message that you have about a cause, or even to grow a business. There's a lot of benefit from social media, and these platforms can be used for that. And I have grown my platforms over the years, and I do have a large following, almost I think 2.5 million, and I use my platforms a lot. Of course, for personal things, but also for my businesses, and also for the messages of protecting animals, being kind and compassionate towards them, protecting the environment, and various forms of advocacy. And I think it has helped a lot to create awareness and to bring change, and for people, to realize like some things that we have been a part of that are very cruel, or like things that were right, that we thought were right before, which we now know are not good. How we have accepted animal abuse. As a lot of animal abuse as normal, and not really understanding how it harms and hurts many of these sentient beings, and how we need to change, and how we need to unite, how we need to work together, and how each of us individually needs to bring change for them, and also to protect the environment and Mother Nature. So definitely there's a lot of benefit from that, and I use it, and I do use my platforms a lot for that.
And I think that, we have also come a long way in terms of storytelling and content creation. I mean, once you actually take a closer look at it, content has really evolved, and the level of creativity amongst people has skyrocketed. And also, since you talked about Pidu being a Instagram star these days, so I believe that is the main, place where social media has really come. And, the other day I was actually watching your video on Nas Daily's channel, and I really want to thank Nas Daily, because I came to know about your incredible story through it. And I would very much like to know your experience filming with him, and any story you want to share around that.
With the Nas Daily video?
Yes.
So he was here with Aline and with I forget his name now. The other guy who does the videos. The three of them. I forget. He's also very popular now with his own videos. He has another name. I can't remember.
I'm also not very sure. Yeah.
They were all here like about 2 years ago, I think. And she did a video on me, not Nas, but Aline did a video on me at that time, and then I don't know, they spent like a day with me in the office, and then I don't know, they were in Sri Lanka for 2-3 more days. But subsequently, last year was when he wanted to do the video on with me. Of course, he couldn't come here, so everything was organized through Zoom and through WhatsApp. And then they got a team here in Sri Lanka to do the story and to do the filming. But they created, I think, everything either in India or Singapore, I'm not sure. But yeah, he could not come physically last year because of the country was closed, and it virtually it's kind of still closed. It was wonderful to do, and it took a whole day to shoot, and it came out quite well.
Yeah, it was really
acting from my side, because I had to act my past story, and it was fine.
That is really great, and you actually got to maybe reincarnate on your past forms, like the like you had your.
And I saw it recently. Actually, someone shared it very recently with me, and I saw it's got quite a lot of views, like 3 million views or something.
And that is how I came to know about you.
Yeah.
So
it's. I mean, again, it was really not to do with just, it was really not about me as such, but, to give people inspiration and to give people, and also to spread the message, about being kind to street dogs and what people can do, because I got so many messages from around the world after that video, like so many, and everyone was, about that it's what they would want to do, and they are going to start doing it, and something that they had in their mind, but they never thought that they could do it, but now they know they can. So hopefully there are like another, 50, 100 people who have started doing something like that, and that really is the whole purpose for it, and it is also why I do them, because to give. To bring change, on a larger scale, and to help others also do the work to help these animals and have a better life.
And I believe that social media is that one tool which can go on to inspire millions, like it did in the case of your video as well. And there is always that one sparkling moment in your life which truly changes how you view life and look at different things. So what was that moment for you?
Well, I don't know actually what that might. I think I don't think it's one moment, but I've had several moments. I think, from. I guess for me it was like from. Of course I was. I was a young girl who was modeling, and then I never had any interest to run a business or to own a business or to even be in the fashion industry. And I guess when I started, took those first collection of clothes and started selling them, and people were so happy to buy them, and when I saw their faces and how happy they were and how much they liked it, for me it was like wow, this is something that I really like, and it's something I would like to do more of, and it makes people happy. I know I can. I know it's something I can improve on and do, and I think that was probably one moment in the early days, and there have been several. When I listed the company, and every one of them were kind of life-changing for me. From running a very private and almost like a family business, but to being a public company, it was totally different, I can't really think of one sort of life-changing moment. Having my two sons was quite life-changing. So it's been quite a journey, actually, right along, with many, many life-changing moments.
That's really great to know. And, I feel you are a very determined and a disciplined person from what I'm getting to know through our conversation so far. But these days, a lot of the people, especially those in their teens or 20s, have witnessed a drop in their motivation and mental health levels due to the pandemic. So what, in your opinion, is that regime or mantra which they should start following to stay more focused, motivated, and mentally fit?
Yeah, I think it's a time of great change and a time of, the ending of the old way of doing things and the beginning of a new way and a new, more conscious and a more conscious way forward. And with it comes a lot of new opportunities. And I think you need to not focus on how things were and how much you want to go back to what was there or what was happening or how things were or what you wish, how it was, because I think how it will be is just going to be so much better, and that actually can be created by you or by us into, to being more, there's so much more opportunity to do new things, because a lot of things that were there in the past and worked well before, a lot of things are struggling to continue in that same old way, and maybe a lot of things won't continue in that same old way because it's going to be a new way. And that gives, everyone an opportunity to be creative, to give, openings to do things, to do new things, and to make yourself visible in a new way. And that could be in your business, that could be, in being creative, in being on YouTube. Look at how many people are on YouTube doing very simple things, but very, very successful and earning quite a bit of money also. There's so much opportunities like that to be who you are. But no matter what, you should always be who you are and not try to be somebody else. And understand what your talent and your strength is. A lot of the sadness, a lot of the depression comes when you want something when you want something that you really can't have, or that's from the past that you can't have. So, just I think focus on the present moment and think about, have a positive mindset as much as possible and think about the opportunities that will come up and that are on offer to you in the months ahead.
This also makes me remember a fact, a philosophy actually, which is called the Ikigai. And this is...
Yeah, I have that book actually. I read it like 6 months ago.
Yeah, that's really a great book. And, I just wanted to point out that this is such a beautiful Japanese philosophy, which embodies the reason for someone to jump out of bed every morning and finding your passion. So...
And I think that's really, really important. I know like sometimes you need a job because, you have to earn the money, and often you can't get, that what you're looking for right away, but you should never like forget it. You should never move away from it, because at some point you need to get there. I mean, I started a new business recently in December last year in the pandemic. So it's an online business supporting small businesses in Sri Lanka, where I sell the items on my platform for them. And, a lot of people on who are now selling on my platform are those who lost their jobs last year. And they have been in those jobs for years, and they never knew that they had these talents within themselves. And, the stuff they're making is really amazing. And they never knew they had that talent. And they are like they're so excited, and they're so inspired about these new things that they're doing, and they're so happy as well. And everyone I speak to says like they're so happy that they're doing this now. So they found like who they truly are in this sort of crisis and in this sort of very difficult situation. And instead of being at home and crying that they lost their job, they have been able to innovate and do something that they really love to do, and that really there has been a hidden passion and a talent within themselves for years. So there's like that. There's so many opportunities that are there. Sometimes in very difficult times, and the greatest struggle sometimes brings the best out of us also. So I think we should never give up, because life is should be lived lightly. And the most thing is like a lot of stuff that a lot of the time the difficulty we have is with our desires of wanting more than what we need really. And if you can keep that in mind and be grateful for even a little good thing that you have each day, you will see yourself changing in the days and months ahead.
Yeah, and since you also talked about COVID, the pandemic essentially bringing in this radical change, I believe that this pandemic has taught us as humans to learn and to unlearn so many new things in life, be it empathy, personal finance, compassion, or working in a team. And I also wanted to focus on the importance of dreaming big dreams, and I also somewhere feel that hard work is radically underrated, and we tend to forget that hard work should not just be a time in your life, but it should be a way of life. So that was really one valuable advice which I got to imbibe from our conversation so far. And recently I also came across your new brand, Lanka. So can you tell us a bit about that and what is it all about?
Yeah, it's Huvia.lk, and it's a platform that sells the products of small businesses from Sri Lanka. All the products are made in Sri Lanka. And I just wanted to create a platform to be able to give, to sell their products to a larger audience, to use my experience and my connections, my marketing skills, to be able to help them to reach a wider audience, and just to help them sell more of their products, and both locally and internationally. So I started only last December. So it's going quite okay, up and down, of course, because we are again in sort of lockdown, I would say, or semi-lockdown. So, it goes up and down, but, it's very new but it's good and I'm enjoying it. And, many sort of small businesses are struggling at this time. A lot of people are struggling at this time because, like I said, they have lost their jobs and they're finding it difficult to find, the money to live on a day-to-day basis. So, by supporting them, it is helping them. I'm sort of advocating for people in my country to support small businesses in Sri Lanka and to buy products that are made in Sri Lanka, and which will help, which will directly help families, communities, and it will also help the economy of Sri Lanka. So that's what I'm doing now. And we have about 400 people on board already. So let's see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, the thought in itself regarding, supporting any particular section of the society is really powerful in a sense that not only it uplifts the society as a whole, but also the neighboring communities, families, and generations to come. And I definitely believe that whatever you are building at whovia.lanka is definitely going to be really powerful, not just for the community, but also for the environment, and will for sure go on to inspire a lot of people to preserve their local heritage and culture. Also, Otara, we generally ask our guests to leave us and our listeners with some parting advice. So would you like to share any words of wisdom, especially for young people, entrepreneurs, and all human beings? And also, do you have any book recommendations for our listeners?
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, it's always been about doing something that I love to do, following my passion, and also doing a lot of things with my heart and not just my head and my mind, letting my heart lead me and to guide me to go in the direction that that I think I should be going, and what you do also should benefit many. It should be a benefit to many, not a few, but to as many as possible, and that is people and animals. And also, if you can, and you also have to be very conscious these days now about the environment also. And I think you say you have to. I mean, try your best to do things you love, because when you do things you love and you have a passion for it, there's a far greater chance of it being successful. Because the mindset and your heart and everything has to be in a happy, light place to be able to successfully grow your business or grow your cause or whatever it is that you are a part of. And I mean, it really is time also for us to be very conscious about how our actions harm animals. And we have to start changing our world and start caring about the abuse and the suffering that we cause to other beings on this planet. We are not different. We think because we are human and we have a brain that we are superior and that we are better and we are separate to the animals that share our planet with us. But we are not. We are just one species of them. And eventually, when all of them get affected and the environment and nature gets affected, we are just one part of it, and we will eventually get very badly affected by everything that's happening with nature and with the abuse and the suffering that we cause animals. I think it's time to remember that we are just one part of the universe and the planet, and we are not superior, and we are not better than any one of the other beings that live on this earth with us. And we have to be conscious of that, and we have to live our life as to the best of our ability, without harming animals, without damaging the environment, and doing our best to reverse the immense damage and the immense cruelty that we have been a part of so far in the last several decades, in our world. So if each one of us makes that effort to make a difference, if each one of us thinks about when we vote that we're voting people who who also care for this and who also will bring this change, then we will, we can expect a lot of good things to happen for all of us.
And do you have any book recommendations which you would like to suggest?
Books, is it? Are you saying books?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I can't hear. It keeps going on. Books is Ikigai is a good one, which I read like 5-6 months ago. I'm currently reading Karma by Satguru. It's one of the books I'm reading at the moment. I can't remember the others. I've read a few the last year, but I can't. Those two are good books to read anyway.
Thanks a lot, Otara, for those extremely valuable words of wisdom and those book recommendations as well. And I'm quite sure that this episode will go on to inspire a lot of people across the world. But with this, we have unfortunately come to the end of this podcast. It was truly a life-changing experience talking to you today. And thank you so much for taking out the time for being here and sharing your wonderful journey with us. Thank you so much once again and wish you the best.
Thanks so much. All the best to everyone, and speak to you soon.
Thanks, Otara.